What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Andres, good morning. Brian, Cindy, bright and early. We got Corey in the house. Good morning to Donna, Jay, Jeff, Joe, JT, Lauren's in the house. Good morning to Lou. We got Lucian, Matthew, Shane, Tim, rocking with us. All my peeps out in YouTube land. Good morning to all you guys as well. Whew, man. We did have some data today. The market didn't care. It just didn't care. No, we had some ADP job numbers. Not a big deal. They came in a tad light, but initial reaction not much, and just getting some continued follow through. We did have some earnings last night. Matthew says Google, Amazon gapping up, already been in bullish trends. Could set up great bullish trade. Yeah, my YouTube headline is just so bullish, just bullish. That's it. Nothing else to say. That's goodbye. See you. But yeah, we do have to watch out. So we got a little warning sign. We're obviously running fairly bullish. We made it through a lot of resistance with this overnight gap. Exuberance sometimes could be a straight up murderer, though. Keep in mind, we do have a little bit of a retest. We had bullish day here, even though there's a red candle, that was a retest. Had a little gap down. Bulls showed their strength. Looks good. So that's a little bit of buying on this way up. So we got that to factor in. There's going to be some people profitable. And besides, if we just open up here, then everybody's profitable. But for the most part, on this little run up, there's a lot of profits to be had, a lot of gains to be locked. And we do have one little resistance right above us, and then the next one does become the high of this candle. So somewhere in I think we got resistance at 530.84, and then we got 533.01, which not a lot of volume, but that was the gap up. We retested. It was just turned into a massive bearish engulfing candle. Imagine if that candle gets taken out. I remember that day like it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days ago. Which is weirdly accurate. Crazy accurate. But yeah, if we start if we start breaking above there, everyone's bear case is just shot in the foot again, and that's it. So I do say bears have a little bit of hope. Watch that 530.84 zone. If we start taking it out, great. As much as I want to be, hey, I want to jump into things at the open. The market is already running. There is people profitable. Would like to see a little pullback first. I don't really want to wait for it. Just me being me, but I do think we get some pullback. Does it have to come down to come into 529.07? No, not really. That would be one heck of a retest, though. 527.48. We got 527.12. So we got a couple things up in the zone, like support wise. Does it have to get down there? I don't know. We still have really good support at 530.29, so tight range at open. And then we got 529.79. The fact that we got above all those VPOCs, though, we still have that one little resistance, so I don't want to ignore it, but that is a really strong bullish gap on the market. So I don't think I'd want to see a huge big retest today. I think I'd actually get a little more concerned if we did. And now you got that double top-ish in place at resistance. So we'll see. But Q's, interesting gap up. As well, depends on where this thing wants to open. So far, we're in a good location. Again, we did make it through that next resistance. So look for 475.26 to be some kind of support. And then our first little resistance, 458.29, and then we got 459.13. So we got a few resistance more above us until we start breaking back out to all-time highs. I mean, gorgeous hammer that we got 3 days ago. So we'll see. But everything right now is running. I do kind of want to be a little bit more hesitant. I really don't want to go bearish, but if we could find a good like gap and go, and everything kind of ran yesterday, so it's gonna be tougher, but we'll see. We got TLT, the bonds, they're starting to believe it. Starting to make a nice little push in bond land. Not bad. Matthew says, hey, DJ, thanks for setting up GME yesterday, even though you wrote it back down. Someone's got off the train. Great stops. Yeah. Yeah. My goal was just 3 hours on the trade. Those are the trades where if I get into it, like, and I'll tell you before we get in, I'm like, I'm looking for the 3 hours in this one. Like the risk on getting in of like we get filled and immediately stopped, I could easily lose the R. So I want to hang out for the for the three. I don't care if I get out for break evens. I'll take those ones all day. But yeah, a great trade. We got uh, Crowdstrike. Yep. So they had earnings. Earnings came in fairly good. Earnings per share beat by 3.94%. Revenue, we came in with a $16 million beat to the upside. Real virtual demand. Good morning to you. Fairly good gap. Decent size gap. We are definitely squeezing some bears. It's just tough to be a bear in this market, I think. Every time I'm looking at a chart, I'm like, oh, those guys really got handed to them on that one. They felt so good for 4 days. But yep. Nice gap up. The volume here, again, that's our largest volume. I'm not gonna put too much weight on this one because it is earnings volume. But we did have a lot of volume on this. We still kind of maintained, even though we dropped off a little bit on that volume zone a little bit more. There's still relatively high volume on all those bearish days into some kind of support, into a moving average. Great place to, I know there's earnings and you have to take a shot at it. Like, do I want to buy something to hold over earnings? I don't know. Although I did buy Lulu for the long term yesterday. Got like 305 and change. And they got earnings tonight, but that's for the long term. So I'll run through that thought process probably later, I guess, if anybody cares. But we got CrowdStrike. We are definitely taking out some bears on this one. Watch out for the resistance up there. Even if I was bullish, if I was getting in off that moving average, if I was buying at support, somewhere up in this zone would be my location where I'm at least on a trade basis. Long term, obviously you're holding through it, but so somewhere probably a little bit higher, maybe like 342, we'll call it 342 even. And then the next stop, which is a tough one, I think, to get to, but 347.38. So the reason I think that one's a much tougher one is because you are breaking out of this entire bearish move, which I think if that happens, you're probably heading decently higher. So we'll see. But if anything, I don't want to fade this thing down, but I'd want to see some kind of pullback. I think on that one, we got Meta. Meta looks interesting. Meta's got some room on it. Couple days of buying. Would not mind seeing some kind of a little pullback, but I'd be okay with a high wave on this one. It could be a small pullback, small little red candle. I would even say pre-market break. We got a lot of time to figure that one out. We got 20 more minutes still. All right, somebody remind me on this one about 5 minutes before the bell rings, and we'll see what that looks like. Some kind of pre-market break. We do have some room on this one too, even into the next resistance. We could get up to 491.48. There's a couple spots in between here, but we've already kind of messed with those zones. So yeah, we got some room. Again, I would like to see a little bit of pullback. Those people who are shorting these guys, on this pullback, if we do get it, because obviously there's people buying too. If they're selling, those bears then will have an opportunity. So 480.95 would be a really good bounce location. I don't necessarily know that we have to get all the way down there. It's only about $3 away, so it's not that far. So take a look at that. We got PMI 945, and then we got ISM at 10. All right. We'll have to keep that on the calendar. That's 9:45, huh? So 15 minutes after. See what happens. I see shop from David. Pretty decent day yesterday for shop, so not bad. Target on this one probably about 6207, and maybe we can sneak into the 6247. We've had now 6 days in a row. We had really good consolidation down here, almost mini double bottom. Not probably call it more support than a double bottom, but there is an element of double bottom to it, so that looks good. Bulls have been stepping in on this one. We're looking for some kind of breakout, which this one was, but some kind of breakout about 58.94, and then if we're using that, 59.24. So 2 days ago, essentially, we got to finally pass that point. That's a big drop. We are above the 20-day EMA, and that's a lot of bulls in a row. So again, maybe a little pullback. I don't really want to see us get back below the 20 because that's going to be a little bit more of a retest, probably into 59.73. But I got some shares, so I'm in. I don't think it's the worst. I would love to see some more chop around first, but that is a good breakout of that consolidation. And then the only thing I got to worry about is targets on this one. And if we start getting above, if we start getting above 62.49, I'm thrilled with it. And then if we can start really taking out probably 62.84, you got this gap fill up there. Obviously, we're going to have some moving averages in the way. So then targets like 68.94. So we'll see what happens on it. But good close yesterday. Nice strong move. The gap up today is fantastic, but we got the entire market kind of gapping up too. So I wouldn't mind seeing, or at least I would understand if we see a little pullback. But yep, bullish for me. If I could get some kind of intraday trade at the open, I'm probably gonna let it just chill out, do its thing. CVS. This is another one. I have some in the long term, and I was looking at my long term portfolio. I'm like, there's not much. There's not much I'm down on. Like CVS is one of them, and it's like 7% down, so it's not even like that crazy. They got a 4.40 divvy. And I'm like, do I add to this one this month again? I don't mind owning CVS for the long term. And I do want to build out a little bit more position. So I might be adding to this one. I'm really in between adding to this or WBD. Those are the two I'm considering for this month. And my other long term I did Lulu. So we'll see what happens, which way I want to go on this one. Because WBD, I don't think WBD is we're not gonna get a divvy on. But I think in like a 5-year time frame, the current money we're putting in, we're gonna eventually get a divvy on it. And I'm looking for like a 30% gain on today's investment. So which would be an annual dividend. So I got to think about it. But CVS, otherwise, yeah. Again, another little breakout. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Inside day, I'll consider it 5. It's day 5, good breakout. You don't have much in the way in terms of like anything holding us back. So probably the next target on this one would be about 63.90. So we have a good move. Do we get that today? I don't think so, unless the market goes crazy. Healthcare has been starting to look a little bit stronger, so some of those healthcare names have been moving. But would love to see some kind of a pullback on this one, 57.52. I think you're going to see a lot of bulls after that breakout candle trying to come in around there. I would personally. So bullish for sure, but I don't know if we missed it. There is some room to the higher side. The problem with this, and I know probably people are like, man, you just keep saying, yeah, just pull back. Obviously, yeah, pull back, get a better price. The reason I say that is my risk to reward is kind of thrown off at this price, right? If I'm buying this thing at the open, which I could, and maybe we get that straight run, it's really strong, we get to that 63.50. I'll call it 63.26 to keep my numbers. All right, so I got $3 to the higher side into my next target. My true stop is really down here, 52.50. So it's like, we'll call it just 53. So I got about a $7 risk until I really know I'm wrong. If I can get the pullback, and I don't know if the market pulls back, but if I can get somewhere around 57.50, my stop is still down there. We've got about a $5 risk unit. And then I got about $6 to the, what is it, $6? About $6 to the high side, something like that. So that would get my risk to reward a lot better on that trade than me just jumping in here. But if you're looking for momentum, I would personally go for like a 1.2 R on the trade, something like that. But we'll see. All right, we got HPE. Lehman, what's up, Lehman? Yeah, HPE had earnings yesterday. Nice little run up. This thing was kind of primed for a good move, but they did beat by 380 million, higher than expected. 3 cents higher earnings per share, but we're in the 20 handles. So up to $20.54. There's a lot of gaps. I think Dennis Dick was talking about it today on pre-market prep, but I liked his example a lot. So if you look at Unity software, which is essentially not essentially, we're at 52-week lows on Unity. If you get these gap ups on these type of stocks, it's a little slower morning, so we could take some time and go through some analysts. But if you get some gaps up, so if we gap up the same percentage, so we get it to the 22, 23, and any of these trap bulls that got in, they're like, man, I'm big holding and I'm going to get out. And these are a lot harder for these reversals, right? So anytime you get these, like, just every single time you get a good move, you trap in some more bulls the entire way down, much harder for those reversals. Something like HPE, you're not trapping anybody, right? You have do they pay divvies too? Yeah. You got a dividend, 13 cents per quarter, so what's that? 26.52 cents. But you're gapping to all-time highs. There's no bag holders in here. You've had a pretty consistent run up, even if you've just been buying these dips. So these ones have the ability to continue higher. Again, if we're shortening the time frame of things, do I want to be the one to get in here? On like a day trade, I will go bullish. I have no problem going bullish, but I'm going to need some kind of setup. So I don't want to just hit the buy button at ask right as the bell rings. Maybe we get some profit taking on this one. Other than that, though, I think most of these dips get bought up. The trend is good. You're not trapping anybody. So I kind of like the dynastic explanation of kind of running through that just to show the difference between like an HPE on a gap compared to somebody that's bag holding. Here, everyone's profitable. There's no real concern that you have to sell. It is a large company that pays a dividend. People aren't really freaking out. So I don't think the pullback's that big. I think it does have the ability to run up higher and probably gain some more momentum. So I will be looking for this one to push higher today. But I'm going to need some kind of technical day trade on it. Not copy. Let's see. Where am I at on this one? HPE. Somehow it's never even made this list of 8,000 stocks or about that. But yep, I look for that continuation gap on this one too. As long as there's a technical setup I could use to get in, give myself good risk reward, I don't mind playing that for further continuation. ORCL. Ivo says I also listen to pre-market. Yeah, no, I like those guys. We when we were doing the Pivot podcast, we had Dennis Dick on, so he blessed us with his graces on the show. I appreciate that. So he's a good, solid guy. The whole team. I know Jeremy's on the show every now and then too. We got Oracle. This one's a little different. I wouldn't mind waiting for some pullback. Probably the first spot I would look for if I did want to buy this thing long would be about 120.62. And then we got maybe 119.93. I like this one better. 120. We'll just 120.62. Just because we're still inside this candle, you do have 3 days of bullish buying. You do have your next resistance at 121.49, so I'm not going to get great risk reward. But if we get that little bit of a pullback down to like 120.62, still above the or above or right at the 20 on the daily, that'd be an interesting bounce spot on it. You are making lower highs so far, but you found good support. We had a gap to fill. We filled that gap, so that looks good. Uh, yeah. I don't think it's gonna be a big mover today. I think we got a lot of resistance up in the way. There might be some better opportunities, but probably one of those stocks set the alert, see if we get a little pullback, and then have the ability to probably now close this gap. Longer term targets about 123.53. If we start breaking out of there, then we're probably looking for essentially we break out of 125. We're looking for all-time highs on Oracle. Next spot would be 129.35, but if we're now making higher highs and higher lows, yeah, I would be trying to hold for that all-time high on it. But give me a little tiny pullback on an intraday basis. Kyle says GME. Oh, did Kitty post anything? This is what we tried to set up for anybody in YouTube land. We had some people making like I think the highest somebody made was like 2.3, something like that. Where were we trying to get in? I needed to go a little bit more. I think we took this break somewhere. Mm, 3-minute chart. I forget where we're getting in. Oh, we were taking back here. I got these lines on the chart. Yeah, so it's a little tougher to see, but there's a high wave candle right here. So we took the break. Up there was like 2 R's and change, and we had target for 3. Just trying to get that extra risk reward on the trade, but could not get that next follow through, move that stops up. So even the losing trades were break even, and then if you exited along the way, you did pretty good. You are at a little bit of support today, so a little tiny support. We need Roaring Kitty. We got a little controversy with him where E-Trade might close out his account. We still don't know. I think he can afford to buy those calls, by the way. I was looking into it. It's very possible, but there's some kind of investigation going on him now. Just make sure he's not pump and dumping. There's a wild amount of calls that he owns. There's 5 million shares he's got. Yeah, we'll see. We do have support down here, so look for like 23.28 to hold, and then you got earnings on Tuesday, I believe. So Tuesday after the bell, you got earnings. His calls expire June 21st. In terms of like, am I bullish or bearish? Right now, you're smack in the middle of this high wave indecision candle. The apes will be apes, and they're going to try to buy more, hold the dips. There's a lot of money in, which is how I'm essentially playing it. There's a lot of money in the option market for GameStop. Really, really good premiums. Oh, we get the 5-minute warning from Microsoft. All right. So I'm playing around with the options of it. I'm trying to get essentially free shares of GameStop. And then I'm just going to let Rowan Kitty do his thing and be a part of it if it plays out, or if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. We'll see. But not too much sentiment at open today. If anything, probably still a little bit more to the bearer side because we do have big resistance above us, $29, 29.13, and then yesterday is about 27.40. Let me get to PLTR and then we'll go back to Microsoft. He can short now to exercise the cover. He could. That's an option. Yep, he could. He could take a short. I don't know if he will because he's Roaring Kitty. Like he's got the status where like he's just a buy holder, and he does have a little bit of a brand. He's got people following him. So if he ends up going short, that's out of pocket for him, and that would be the smart thing to do. But I don't know that he does that. We got Palantir. Good gap on Palantir. Not bad. We are into one little resistance up here. Next little target is about 2272. I like that close a lot, but it is a retest gap at open too. So maybe a little struggle bus. But if we could break through 2273, we got 2317. I do have positions on this one as well, so just full disclosure. But it looks like it's trying to track upwards, but I wouldn't mind seeing a little pullback first. We got MSFT. Let's take a look at that one again. Did they already start moving it? They're already trying to break this pre-market. For right now, we'd go something like this. If we wanted to, I'd still need this little pullback, and then I'd throw stops under here somewhere. I was hoping we get a little already pullback, and then we could take a break, but they give me a green candle, green hammer candle above everything else. So something like that would be decent. You got about less than $2 of risk. We got a decent amount of room to the high side, but let me get this one much higher on the list though. And that bell is about to ring. So make sure if you're on YouTube land, you guys hit that like and subscribe button. We do have some fun things coming out, specifically June 13th. I keep dropping some Easter eggs, but eventually we'll get the data out to what that is. But make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. This way, any of the updates you guys are receiving. Be safe in the market. I know we've seen that bullish enthusiasm a lot, and people get excited because the market's gapping up. Just be patient. Try not to let the emotions trade you. You trade your emotions.